Ah yes, the Ys series. I was first exposed to Ys through the SNES version in the third game, Wonders from Ys. Given how young I was at the time, I never really put two and two together. That it was the third game in the series. I remember loving every second of it despite it being the black sheep of the franchise for doing what Zelda 2 changed from Zelda 1. Zelda 1 was a top-down view, adventure, action game, you saw the gameplay from an above perspective. Zelda 2 was side-scrolling, which Ys 3 also did the same thing. When I finally got to play the first two games through a Japanese to English fan translation on the PC port, I just saw how different the series was when it started. And I loved it. I remember blasting my way through both games while having a little blast, being lost like those old games that barely told you where to go. Not having access to any of the other games actually released in America back in the day, I was ecstatic when it came out for the DS in 2009. I was 19 at the time, so a lot of the official English releases before that flew under my radar. I never played the TurboGrafx 16 or the NES version of the game, for example. So, Legacy of Ys Book 1 and Book 2 on the DS was all I had. It was the official release, and it was different from fan translation. It was just like, it was official, so you feel like it was the one product that you just have to play over somebody that like did it in their garage or whatever. So, for my second year anniversary of regularly putting out content on my channel, I'd like to introduce you to a show called Azure Analysis. My first ever video was a long time ago on the Minish Cap, and it was also titled Azure Analysis. This time around though, I'm going to take a look at it differently. I'm going to take a look at the gameplay, the story, for the most part. I don't want to spoil anything for this release anyway. And I'm going to look at the sound, all that. See how it holds up. Legacy of Ys Book 1 and 2 cover the beginning of adventures of Adol Kristen. Red hair, red clothes, silver armor. Typical 90s hero stereotype and a soul for adventure. He decides to investigate the country of Asteria for adventure, which is shrouded over by a giant storming wall called the, Storm Wall. The ship gets wrecked by a battering storm wall because what did you think would happen sailing into a mountain would be tornado on water? And the ship wrecked safely out of port in Asteria, but not without being battered and bruised upon entry. Stuck inside and longing for adventure, you, the player, guide Adol as he travels the lands of Asteria and uncovers the mystery of the Book of Ys and the Tower of Darm. I'm sorry, Dom. Translation of this version of the game is different, to say the least. I'd mentioned the story of the second game, but it's a direct continuation from the first game, so saying anything would be spoilers. And I haven't done a Let's Play of that, so we'll see that when that time comes. So let's get on with our adventure and take a look at what we're dealing with, starting with, oh boy, what am I looking at? The DS has a resolution of 256 by 192 pixels for each screen. To put it into perspective, I blow up my capture card DS footage by 4 times with a program called Virtual Dub, and then compress it in Handbrake for a nice file size without losing too much quality. So this blown up footage you're seeing on the screen is not entirely representative of the game screens you actually be playing this on, but even after all that technicality, the game still isn't the best looking. I mean, just look at this guy just floating over a building. As each game starts up, a cinematic intro plays and boy do they do not look good when blown up. It's like you're watching a YouTube video and you decided to turn the quality way down to about 144p. Do I look like pixel art? Being a DS game, 2 screens come into play here. Gameplay on top, information like hit points, magic, experience, and money, as well as the map on the bottom. The map is incredibly useless with how little you can actually see. Look how big Adol's head is on there. Couldn't he have been a dot on a more zoomed out map? Speaking of the map, the game's visuals take on a unique 3D look to them while leaving characters and effects to the 2D style, creating a blend of 2D on 3D gameplay. It's like a resolution so small they opted to make the environment 3D instead of 2D elements like the characters. But even so, the screen size doesn't allow for too much to be displayed at one time on screen, leading to forced camera zooming out on screens where you should be seeing more, such as the boss rooms. This causes the artwork of the characters to lose detail as the camera draws back. Why not just go full 3D with everything and avoid that issue entirely? And yeah, this isn't exclusive to those rooms. In certain areas just naturally mess around with this. This leaves our hero Adol looking very surprised or big buggy-eyed at times. Again, this is all decent enough when you're playing on such a small screen, but how does it sound? Oh. No, no. Turn it off. Turn it off. Whew, you can skip the cinematics. DS sound quality does this port no favors. These series classic tunes are rocky and guitars are just plain awesome, but here everything's a MIDI. And while the quality is decent enough, just don't expect a great quality soundtrack that you expect from the PC version. It's one of the many downsides of porting a game from superior hardware. Compromises have to be made, but they're still listenable. Just keep the volume low to not hear the tinniness of the original songs minified. They're passable, just whatever you do, don't play with headphones. So if they changed visuals and downgraded the audio, how does the gameplay stack up to the other version of the game? Well, here's where it all goes downhill. The first 2 games in the series use a system where you run into the enemies at different angles to do damage based on where you hit them. You also take damage if you attack them from the direct front as you are in their line of sight. This version, however, decided to throw that completely out the window and add an attack button. But Azure, you say? An attack button? That actually sounds like a good idea. Well, let's take a look at the sword. 1, 2, 3, 4 pixels of space between you and the enemy. You have to get right in their face to hit. Well, let's say you get good with this system, get right in their faces to attack. Remember what I said about getting hit if you attack enemies from the front? Now you get hit on all sides if you mistime your press, but it also works the other way too. If you're perfect at timing, you'll never get hit. Anything lower than normal difficulty makes the game a cakewalk if you have that precise skill to press it in time. There is a possible solution, however. Being a DS game, the developers added the ability to touch the screen and move at all around that way. It also reverted the game's playstyle to how it was. This also switches the screens around. Well, that's all well and good, but I can't see anything. Adol on screen acts like the center of the joystick, and the farther away the stylus is how fast he's moving in that direction. But the old style of play had constant movement, so good luck. So, 3 strikes, but is it out? The graphics are okay, the sound is alright, but the gameplay just completely alters it into an abomination of what it once was. So, who is this game actually for? Everything screams lackluster compared to the other version of the game, but at the time, it was all I had officially. Do I recommend it? Of course I don't. Only if you want to play a version of the first 2 games with weird design decisions. It's not cheap either. The game ranges from $30 to $90 online depending on quality and completeness of the product, as early bundles included a music CD of songs from the game. I think this was made for fans that just had to have every game in the series on everything it was put out on, and draw in curious new customers. The game's got an expanded official English PC port published by Exceed, but if you want it on the go, like I do, version of the exact PC port is on the PlayStation Portable, and it goes for about as much as the DS game goes for depending on the completeness. The PC version is the cheapest go-to for $14.99 currently, and I highly recommend it. Heck, there are mobile versions of these 2 games on Android and iOS, and they frequently go on sale from their asking price of $5.49 to a paltry 99 cents. These versions feature touch controls, but it's much better implemented than this DS port. You can touch anywhere and get Adol moving, and if you want it portable, I actually do recommend it. It also supports controllers, so it should be the easiest way to get it on the go. If this was your actual first Ys title, I would say give the series another go. Just don't play this abomination of a DS port. I mean, who made this? Atlas? Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Azure Analysis, and if you got this far in the video, please leave a like or a dislike, and subscribe if you want. Comments are also appreciated. I want to see how I can improve, and I need critique to see how that's gonna go. So, if you want to subscribe and see more content, I really do Let's Plays, and I hope to do more of these in the future, for example, but I also have other show ideas as well. Some leaving my portable gameplay comfort zone, but it's gonna be something fun. See you guys in the next one.